Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. How's it going? All right. My name is Murphy Jr., and I will be hosting a brand new show right now called Black and Blue. Okay. This is a sports talk show dedicated to the other Giants community. Yes. And when I say that, I mean the Black Giants community. We have a voice. We have feelings. We have long been overlooked and not been heard. I think that can be said across the league, that people are not listening to the voices of the black people that make up 70% of the NFL. I just felt like it was time to make a show, dedicated to that frustration. Right now we are witnessing one of the biggest cases, one of the biggest controversies that the league has ever faced. All right. I'm talking about a lawsuit filed by former Miami Dolphins head coach Brian Flores against multiple teams: the Miami Dolphins owner Stephen Ross, the Denver Broncos and John Elway, and most notably our franchise, the one we love the most, the New York Football Giants. Okay. We know that this lawsuit, if you haven't been paying attention, claims that there are a lot of racial hiring practices in the NFL, and that owners, specifically Stephen Ross from the Dolphins, was incentivizing Brian Flores to lose games in order to boost their opportunities to get better draft picks and things like that, offering him $100,000 per loss. Those are some serious allegations. And so far, what I've noticed over the last couple of days, ever since they've come out, is everybody just wants to dismiss it like he's an angry black man. You saw the Giants come out very strongly and vehemently against all the claims that Brian Flores made, basically saying that they had already chosen their head coach, Brian Daboll, before they ever interviewed and considered Brian Flores. All right. Give you a little bit of backstory, because some of you guys may be coming to this channel just because you're a fan of me and not a fan of football, but most of you guys understand how football works. I'm just giving this rundown for the people who don't know the ins and outs of the NFL. All right. Before I do that, I just want to say that if you are tuning in and this is your first time watching this video, I want you to subscribe. All right. Subscribe to me, Dwayne Murphy Jr., and subscribe to the new show, Black and Blue. All right. Because hopefully we can grow this particular community and we can have some legitimate discussions about the direction and the type of change that we want to see happen in a league that, let's be honest, we all love it so much. All right. The NFL is not going to be worth $16 billion if we didn't love it so much. You know what I'm saying? So we need to really figure out what the best course of action is to find that representation. All right. But to get back to my original point, okay, Brian Flores is filing a lawsuit against the New York Football Giants. All right. Now, he is claiming specifically against us that we are a bit of racist. We were being racist in our hiring process. All right. Now, just after the end of this last season, the New York Giants fired Joe Judge. Dave Gettleman retired as the GM, and they were ready basically to really listen to the outcry of most fans, all right, both black and white, that, you know what, we need a new coach. We need a new coach. We need a new GM. We need a whole new direction, because whatever you guys have been doing for the last 10 years specifically, it ain't been working. All right. Whatever type of offensive scheme that you've been trying to come up with over the last 2 years with Jason Garrett, it ain't been working. And Joe Judge just looks a little too overwhelmed to run this team. So we clean sweeped everything. All right. Got rid of, what's weird also, I just want to point out, it's weird that we didn't fire Dave Gettleman. All right. And I'll get into a little bit more of that later when I really get into the racial part of what's going on. Okay. But once we clean sleep, we decide that, you know what, we're ready to hire a new, and we go on a long GM search. Okay. Now, when you hire executives and positions like head coach, so they're the people that don't understand the NFL. This is what I was trying to say earlier. There's a thing called the Rooney Rule. All right. Now, this rule basically incentivizes teams to hire outside minority candidates in order to sort of inject more diversity into the league. All right. If you don't know, there's only one black head coach in the National Football League right now, Mike Tomlin of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Okay. There's only one, even Muslim coach, Robert Saleh of the New York Jets. You know what I mean? Like a different religion. Most of the other positions are filled by Caucasian, straight, white men. Okay, now most of you are gonna watch this, and I already can see the comments, and I hear them. Now people are gonna say, but what about the best candidate? It's not our fault that these are some people getting these jobs, and why you gotta hate? Because I want to say that I'm doing a disservice to Brian Daboll. Nobody's saying that these guys aren't qualified. Nobody's saying that these guys haven't earned their chances to run these franchises. But what we are saying is that there is a system built, there is an infrastructure built that is tailor-made for them to advance, and for the black coach or the black assistant or the black executive to advance at a much, much slower pace. Okay. Now, the reason why the Giants are at the center of this, all right, the reason why the Giants are being seen as the poster boy of manipulating this rule and not taking it seriously and not, being diverse and inclusive, all right, is because now, when Joe Schoen was hired, the new GM from the Buffalo Bills, people kind of understood that he was going to hire Brian Daboll, all right? But you're not allowed to offer a position. You're supposed to interview all of these candidates, all right? It's almost been kind of confirmed that he had offered this job to Brian Daboll before ever hiring a black candidate. Would that not frustrate you? Would that not frustrate you, regardless of what color you are? Would it not frustrate you to go into a job knowing that, one, it's a job that you want, a job that you maybe are very qualified for, a job that you had before and really didn't want to lose, but you were unceremoniously let go at a previous place of work, okay? And you come into this new place of work and you're a perfect fit for the job. Brian Flores is from the New York area. He's from Brownsville, Brooklyn. Man, I'm from Flatbush, all right? I know where Brownsville is. I know that area. I got family there, all right? That's real. That is the heart of New York City. You know what I mean? Brownsville, Clinton Hill, everybody stand up. You know what I mean? That's some real New York stuff. You know what I'm saying? But like, you can't deny that this guy, is like built for this city. He would understand the market. He would understand the media. You know what I mean? He was a head coach of another team that just went on a 7-game win streak, won 8 out of 9 games. That's hard to do at any point in time in the National Football League. To win 8 out of 9 games, 7 in a row, like there's no reason for this man to be fired. And the entire league was confused as to why he lost this job, all right? But he's going in to his dream job, and to know going in that the job is being offered to somebody else, okay? So all the people who want to, kind of fight back on Brian Flores, because there is a lot of pushback on Brian Flores, all right? A lot of pushback. Most of it is by, a lot of fans, a lot of individuals who just want to say, oh, he's just upset that he didn't get hired. And the New York Giants, they hired a qualified candidate in Brian Daboll. They did. Brian Daboll is well qualified to be a head coach. I know it's his first time doing it, but he's been a coordinator for 20 years. He is qualified to be a head coach. But how can you not understand the frustration of Brian Flores for feeling like, hey, you could have at least you could have even told me not to come, Why are you wasting my time? Okay, why are you making me come out here? All right, because you know that you have this other guy that you want. So that means at some point you sat down and said, man, we have this guy, Brian Daboll. We're a really big fan of his. We want to use him. We want him to be our coach and everything. But you know what? This rule says I have to interview minority candidates before I hire him, all right? I might as well just bring in a couple black guys and just interview them, But I'm going to hire this guy. I guarantee there was a conversation had with some people like that, because that's how it works, all right? That's what goes down. Brian Daboll is not just interviewing with us. Brian Daboll was interviewing with Miami, of all places. Brian Daboll was interviewing with other teams. He had an interview in Chicago. He had an interview in Denver scheduled, all right? These other teams were trying to snatch him up. You know what I'm saying? So, obviously, I got to have like a little conversation. I got to have an understanding. Hey, look, don't take those other jobs because I'm giving you this job. I just got to go talk to the black people first. You know what I'm saying? Like, that is a sham. That is a manipulation of the rule. That, in essence, is racist, all right? You're using this black person to fulfill a requirement with no intention, okay, of giving him a job or an incentive. You're dangling a carrot in front of him, knowing that you're going to pull it away from him as soon as he gets close. And then you're going to have the audacity to get upset with that man for not, wanting to, be frustrated, for feeling frustrated by that. You're going to get upset. You're going to get upset about that. You know what I mean? That's what happens to our community, to our voices all the time in the NFL. All right. No matter what, if we get upset by something, if the black man sees something that rubs him the wrong way, he's really just supposed to bite his tongue and move on. All right. That's what they did to Kaepernick. It had nothing to do with the issue that he was trying to bring to the table. All right. He wanted there to be a better chance for minorities not to be victims of police brutality. He wanted to bring awareness to that. Nobody wanted to listen. Okay, Brian Flores is saying there's a system built here that's allowing you to parade these black people around with no incentive of giving them a job. All right, just because you can fill a quota and then hire your white friend. Literally, Brian Daboll and Joe Schoen have been friends for years. They've worked in Buffalo and they worked in Miami together. So it's like you literally pass me up for your friend and you just use me to fulfill a quota. That in itself is racist. That in itself is a system that says, you know what? We don't have any intention of helping these people. We don't have any intention of putting these people in a better position in any way, shape, or form. All right. We'll show them what a better life looks like, but then we are going to turn them away and shoo them off because you know what? They're just not, they don't get to have what we have. You know what I mean? And you know what? Shame on them for wanting it. Yeah, that is the message that the New York Giants sent to Brian Flores, and that's why he's upset. That's also the message that they send to the black community, the people that root for them, you know what I mean? The people that are big fans of their team. You know, owners are so quick to talk about how they have fans that they want to listen to, you know what I mean? We want to listen to the people who are writing in. John Mara even said in the Kaepernick situation, I did not bring him in because I knew the blowback from our fans would be so bad and so, vicious and everything like that. Well, which fans did you talk to? All right. Which side of your fan base did you appeal to? All right. Did you talk to the side of your fan base that looks like me, that looks like a Brian Flores, that looks like a Patrick Graham, another person who was in-house, worked for your organization, not just for the last 2 years as a defensive coordinator, but for a few years prior to that as a coach, as an assistant and everything, told you his dream job, turned down other head coaching gigs a year ago to be here because he told you this was his dream job, and you paraded him around knowing you were going to hire somebody else. All right. Now Patrick Graham, guess what, is coaching with the Raiders. All right. Because he felt like he was shafted by not just the Giants, but by a system at whole that is built to keep black individuals at a certain level. All right. That is a real thing. No matter any way you slice it, that happens anywhere. All right. And so many people can come back and comment, because I already know I'll get comments. I'll have people that see this, and so many people will say, you know what? You're trying to inspire hatred. And what about all these other racists? I saw a comment like that on something I talked about the other day. I said, this is like, this smells funny and stuff. And you have somebody who's always quick, it's usually as a white dude who's quick to jump in and go, well, you know what about all of the other, minorities? How come there are no Asian candidates? How come there are no Hispanic candidates? How come there are no, brown? How come there are no, all this stuff? He'll always bring up all of these other races, right? Well, guess what, sir? In a perfect world, you get to discriminate against all of them. All right. Yeah. That's the truth, all right? Because you want to be all about inclusion and everything. Since you want to use that argument, I bet you any amount of money in your mind and your psyche, you are still at the front of that line that you're trying to mix all up when I'm trying to bring up my issue. So I don't need you to come to me and tell me that I am just being an angry person, or that I'm just, just be acting, out of sorts, and that I don't know what I'm talking about or what I'm feeling. It is a real thing, and it's indicative of the society that we live in, and the NFL has been riddled with this issue since the beginning of time. All right. There's not one player, there is not one individual who is associated with this league that would tell you anything different. All right. NFL is racist, and the Giants are no different. All right. We just need to come around to understanding that fact. All right. Thank you guys once again for tuning in. Okay. Like I said, this is the inaugural episode of Black and Blue, a show dedicated to the other Giants community. I'm going to keep coming to you guys with more content and blowing out. So please subscribe and like. Okay. Share this with people, please. All right. We're going to grow this. We're going to grow this podcast. It is going to be available to you immediately, almost every day on YouTube and Spotify, and it'll be coming to Apple Podcasts very soon. Thank you guys very much. Once again, my name is Dwayne Murphy. I'll be your host every morning, every evening, and every night. Y'all have a good one.